Hello, everyone. My guest today is Vijay Basani. He's a serial entrepreneur with a track record of building successful businesses delivering enterprise-class solutions. Before starting his current company, Cygilant, he founded AppIQ, an application storage resource management provider acquired by Hewlett Packard in October 2005, and WebManage Technologies, a policy-driven content delivery solution provider acquired by Network Appliance in August 2000. Vijay, are you ready to take us to the top?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, good. So tell us about Cygilant. What do you guys do and what's your business model? How do you make money?
Cygilant is in the business of helping companies of all sizes with cybersecurity. Specifically, our motto is that every company, irrespective of the size of the company, deserves an enterprise-class security program to protect themselves against never-ending cyber attacks as well as compliance mandates.
And what's the business model? Is it a pure play SaaS?
We are a SaaS security as a service provider.
Okay. And what's the average? I mean, are you talking enterprise or small business? What's the average customer paying per month, would you say?
We tend to focus on sub 5,000 employee company segment. And the average payment is anywhere from $25,000 to $50,000 per year.
Per year. Okay, got it. So on the low side, we'll say $25,000 annually, which what does that come out to? About $2,000 a month. And walk me through more of the backstory here. So you had some successful exits in your past. Why jump into the cybersecurity space, and what year did you launch the company in?
So if you look at the cybersecurity space, in the last 15 plus years, we have seen the market evolve pretty rapidly. I tend to compare cybersecurity to something similar to the human medical field, where the new problems continue to come up every 2-3 years, and the old problems don't go away. Just like the way in humans, the old diseases continue to exist, and the new diseases continue to be invented. And while we discover new drugs, the old problems, health problems, continue to be prevalent out there. Similarly, in the cybersecurity space, in the last 15 years plus, we have seen that the 15-year-old problems don't go away. They're still very effective. And every 12 to 24 months, a new type of threat or a new type of headache is invented or introduced into the market segment, and new types of technologies are introduced. And as a result, we have seen in the last 15 years, the security stack continue to get more and more complex. And in addition to that, cybersecurity by its nature is a very complex area. And to manage these technologies, you need expertise. Somebody coming fresh out of school will not be able to do an effective job. They need hands-on training.
So you like that because the barrier to entry is a bit higher.
Barrier to entry is higher, and also the challenge is extremely difficult. The problem that we're trying to solve is very, very difficult to solve.
So did AppIQ, did that touch cybersecurity? Like, why were you uniquely positioned? What did you learn already about cybersecurity prior to starting the company?
Actually, when we started Cygilant, we used to be called AppIQ Networks.
And what year was that, by the way?
In 2001, we started the company. Initially, we were in the firewall analysis and SIM log management space. And over time, we realized that it is not just the technology that is going to solve the problem. You need people, process, and technology to really effectively help solve these never-ending, escalating cybersecurity threats for our customers. And in the last about 4 years ago, we went and said, no, we need to provide an effective, comprehensive, complete solution to the mid-market segment, because majority of the attacks are beginning to take place in this segment, mid-market segment. And this market segment tends to have few challenges. One is they're always challenged with security budgets. Their budgets tend to be small. They tend to have very, very few number of security professionals on the staff. In our survey, we found out that 75% of these market segment customers tend to have 2 or less security professionals on their team. So if you are serious about security, you need 24/7 vigilance in terms of understanding what is happening, getting visibility into your environment, and actively monitoring your environment to figure out where the potential weak links are, what is being exploited.
So Vijay, I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to get as much in as possible in the time that we have. So I think I understand kind of where you're going and why it's important. But for you, I mean, where was your brain at in 2001 when you launched this thing? And also, I thought you said you sold AppIQ in 2005. So were you working on this company while you were still building AppIQ?
That is correct, yes.
Got it. Okay. So did you build Cygilant because you needed that product at AppIQ, and then you said, "Wow, actually, a lot of people need this"?
Actually, we started. I started two companies at the same time, separately.
I see.
And when we started Cygilant, at that time there was a need for firewall analysis and reporting, and over time that evolved into security information management, log management space. And in the last, as I said, this space has evolved, and the company has evolved, and our strategy has evolved over time.
Now, when you sold in 2005 to Hewlett Packard, I mean, was that a meaningful financial event for you, or was that like a soft landing kind of thing?
That was a very meaningful exit.
Okay, what was the exit? Was it public?
It was sold for about $280 million.
$280 million. And how big was the team when you sold it?
We were, as a company, over 100 people.
Okay, and what did your founding team look like? Was it just you, or?
I had two other co-founders.
Okay,
two
got
founders.
it. And did you bootstrap that company or raise?
We raised a ton of VC money.
Like more than 100 million?
About $30+ million.
About 30 million. Now, what about on this one, on Cygilant? Have you raised capital, or are you bootstrapping?
Initially, we bootstrapped, and then we raised money. To date, we have raised a total of $38 million.
Okay, so you're very much a creature of pattern then, huh?
That's correct.
All right, and what are you at now today in terms of total customers using the platform?
We have several hundred customers using this Cygilant platform right now.
Okay, so can we say maybe between 300 and 600? Is that fair?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, great. And what are you doing to acquire these customers? I mean, you're in the mid-market. This is a very kind of popular space. You have No Before that's kind of, and Stu, they're kind of playing below market, lower price points. And then you have enterprise solutions above you charging, $1 million per year. So you are focused in the middle. How are you acquiring these kinds of customers?
We use inside sales model. So we have a pretty decent sized inside sales team.
How big?
We have about 30+ people.
Oh, wow. And what's the total team size?
In total, we have 170 people in the company.
170. Okay, 30. So wow. So about 20% of the team is inside sales. Great. And they're following a typical playbook, or have you altered the playbook at all? Yes, we do.
We do have a typical inside sales playbook. We also have a small number of channel partners.
Okay. Now, if you look at kind of new revenue each month, what percentage comes through channel partners versus direct via your channels?
I would say about 20% comes from the channel partners.
Oh, wow.
And 80% from inside sales.
Okay. And how do you incentivize the channel partners? Are they taking 30% of ACV or what?
We tend to give anywhere from 10 to 30% of the ACV.
Vijay, you're a nice guy.
Well, no, we do care about our partners.
You cybersecurity guys, you're supposed to be tough. You're supposed to keep the bad guys out, but you're giving away 30%. So that's good. You make your channel partners happy.
That's correct. Yeah.
All right. Now, as you're building the company, you're looking at scale. Talk to me about unit economics. I mean, what do you like to keep your payback period under?
We tend to, our goal is to get it below 18 months.
Okay. What are you at now? Like 20?
We are closer to about 20+.
Okay, 20 plus. Okay. So are you able, I mean, that's much longer than what most people would try and be at, but are you able to kind of afford that because you've raised cash so you don't have a huge cash gap problem?
That's correct. And also, because of the problem that we're trying to solve, we tend to have pretty good stickiness. So our churn rate is very low.
How low?
It's negative churn rate.
Okay. And so net negative revenue churn?
Net negative revenue churn. So as a result, we can confidently say that we will be profitable and we can make pretty decent amount of money over the long run.
Yeah. When you take that churn number and you just do it, I know this is a little bit unfair, but you do it just on a logo basis annually. What is churn on a logo basis, gross annually?
On a dollar basis, on a logo basis, we probably have anywhere from 2 to 5% churn rate.
Annually or monthly?
On annual basis.
That's still really good.
Yes, and the dollar churn rate, including the expansion and cross-sell, we have negative churn rate.
How negative?
We are averaging about 3 to 5% negative.
That's pretty good. Okay, that's good. And then are you losing a lot of dollars every month? Like how much do you have to make in terms of expansion to get back to even growth?
Very small amount.
Like less than 5%?
That's correct. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So that's really healthy. Now, what are some of the levers you're pulling to drive up contract value year over year? Is it just number of seats or number of device covered, or is it other feature, aspects?
So for us at Cygilant, we want to be the most customer-centric company in the security space. And if you really look at it, security by nature is very difficult to deliver. We as a company have ingrained in our DNA that we want to focus on customer centricity. So we are one of the first companies to publicly announce our Net Promoter Score. We put it on our website. We have the best NPS and CES scores in the industry. We really focus on making our customers successful, not just get a checkbox against a compliance regulation, but actually helping them detect issues, provide them guidance on how to go about fixing them before they become an enterprise-wide problem. And that has been helping us expand our seats in our customer over time, and also increase the total amount of money they're paying us over time.
And considering these healthy economics, very low churn, super high NPS score, what do you assume lifetime value is of these customers?
We believe that it's going to be over 5 years.
Over 5 years. Okay. And I mean, people can do the math, right? So at over 5 years and annual contracts, over 25 grand, you can assume, on average what people are worth, well over 125.
Easily, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's the minimum. Yeah.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. And then backing back to your payback period, at 20 months there and people are paying about $2,000 a month. I want to make sure I got this right. You're willing to spend about up to 40 grand to acquire these guys.
Something around that 40 to 50 grand is going to be our CAC. Yep.
And that's fully weighted, including salaries of onboarding and sales teams, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Do you do a lot of direct paid stuff or no?
We do. When you say direct paid, you're talking about advertisements.
That's right.
We don't really know. What we have done is we invest heavily in the SEO side of the business. We do pretty good amount of outbound calling.
And in terms of kind of growing the company, how fast are you growing year over year?
We have been averaging over 100% growth rate for the last 3 years.
That's incredible. Yeah, I mean, at a minimum, if you got 300 customers paying at least $2,000 a pop per month, which takes you to the 25 grand a year ACV on minimum, I mean, you're well over the $8 million AR run rate at this point, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Have you well, I won't push you more there, but what year do you think, if you keep doubling, I mean, what year do you think you'll call it like 50 million?
We expect to be cash flow positive sometime next year.
Okay.
I think from there, maintaining the profitability margin is very important for us. It's not just the top line growth. We believe that we can build this business into a 20+% net margin business. We have a very healthy gross margin.
Above 85%?
No, given that we have a human component involved in our service delivery, it's not a pure software as a service, right? So we also have actually service component attached to it. We are driving towards 70+% gross margin.
Okay, that's still super healthy. So I mean, look, if we assume we're doing somewhere around 10ish right now, you're doubling year over year. I mean, is it fair to say you think does 2020 look realistic for a 50 million ARR?
Correct. Yeah.
Awesome. Vijay, we'll have to have you back on.
We'll be glad to be on.
Okay, very good. Let's wrap up here with the famous 5. Number 1, what was the last business book that you read?
The last business book is Michael Porter's book. It's a summary of Michael Porter's book, Understanding Michael Porter.
Yeah, that's a good one. Number 2, is there a CEO you're currently following or studying?
I love Jeff Bezos. Ever since I read the Everything Store book, I have started paying very close attention to how he runs the book and how he runs the company and what he focuses on. That has been a very good model for us from a customer centricity perspective.
Number 3, what's your favorite online tool?
Audible.
Audible?
Yes.
That's a good one. Lots of books. And how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
I sleep for 8 hours.
That's good.
7
And
days, yeah.
that's really healthy. What's your situation? Married, single, you have kids?
I'm single.
Single, no kiddos yet?
With a 4-legged kiddo.
That counts. All right. No kids yet. And Vijay, how old are you?
I'm 51.
51. Last question. Take us back 31 years. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
I was in engineering college. I just finished engineering college at that time, getting ready to come to the US for my MBA.
What do you wish
What
you knew?
advice? What would I advise I would do? I would give. I would not do anything different than what I did.
Nothing necessarily different. It's not something you regret. It's just something you wish you knew.
I wish I knew. So, um, I would say that having born in India, uh, I think if I had educated myself more about the US, that probably would have helped me better.
Yep.
That, if I have to go back and think about it, that would be one thing I would probably do differently.
There you guys have it from Vijay. He would have learned and studied a little bit more about the US earlier on in his career. He's had many successes. His last company sold for well over 240 million bucks to Hewlett Packard. At the same time that he launched that company, actually also launched his current company, Cygilant, which is focused on the cybersecurity space for the mid-market with annual contract values well north of 25 grand annually. He has over 300 customers doing over $8 million a year in revenue, almost doubling year over year for the past 3 years, on track to continue doing that with super healthy unit economics, 5% gross logo churn annually, and negative 5% net negative revenue churn. So healthy growth. Payback period's a little high, but he can afford it because they've raised about 38 million bucks. So they have some time there, and the customers are very, very sticky. Thank you so much, Vijay, for taking us to the top.
Thank you very much for your time.